Breaking news now. These are the two things that Israel is hoping China will do to assist in bringing peace to the Middle East. China has moved in from the sidelines to the middle of the Israel-Gaza conflict in the last month or two. Midway through November, the Chinese capital was a stop on the diplomatic shuttle route for foreign ministers from Arab and Islamic nations seeking a resolution to the conflict. The Chinese capital issued a 5-point stance paper later that month, requesting that the United Nations Security Council establish a concrete schedule and blueprint for a two-state reconciliation. Are you interested in learning more about current events and global trends but have some questions? Learn more about the answers you're looking for with SCMP Knowledge, a new platform of curated content created by our award-winning team. It features explainers, frequently asked questions, analyses, and infographics. Worries that a second front could open along the Lebanon border prompted Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi to call his Iranian counterpart again earlier this month. China is making a number of efforts, including this engagement, to help end a conflict that threatens to escalate into a regional war. However, according to analysts, Israel would have preferred it if Beijing would take a balanced approach by denouncing Hamas actions and then using its influence over Iran to stop the conflict from escalating. This step has thus far been overlooked. They argue that if China doesn't take this tack, Israel will view its actions as an attempt by Beijing to cast itself as a peace-seeking alternative to the U.S. Chinese authorities have refrained from denouncing Hamas or labeling the group a terrorist organization since the conflict broke out. Following an attack on southern Israel by the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas on October 7, Israel justified its actions as a form of self-defense. Nonetheless, China claimed that Israel's post-attack responses were not justified by self-defense alone. In his initial address to the war in November, Chinese President Xi Jinping urged Israel to end the collective punishment it is inflicting on the Gazan people, while restating the need for a truce and a two-state solution. Jean-Louis Simon, a senior research fellow at the Middle East Institute of the National University of Singapore, claims that China has continued with its long-standing support for the Palestinian cause, which has disappointed Israel. According to him, Israel had hoped that China would take into account the magnitude and societal impact of the October attack by Hamas. China was focused on releasing hostages and ending the military campaign in Gaza, so Israel did not have high expectations of it. China is unable to provide any assistance in either scenario, Simon stated. Political science professor Ephraim Inbar of Tel Aviv's Bar-Ilan University went even farther, claiming that China had clearly estranged Israel. Recently, China has taken steps that make it more hostile towards Israel. Israel is certainly hoping that China will take a more measured stance, Inbar stated. China has repeatedly proposed a ceasefire, which Inbar described as an anti-Israeli measure in Israel's eyes. A very problematic issue, he continued, was that Beijing had not yet condemned Hamas. According to Jesse Marks, a non-resident fellow with the Stimson Center's China program, China-Israel ties are likely to take a hit in the near future due to China's reluctance to denounce Hamas and the active pressure exerted on Israel to cease its campaign.